Italy, 1954. A quiet autumn day over the small city of Florence. The air is still, the sky a clear blue, until suddenly, the heavens begin to shimmer. Thousands look up. Something white drifts down, like snow, but it isn't snow. It's thin, silvery, glowing in the sunlight. Fibers, threads, falling from the clouds. Children chase them through the streets. Priests stare from church steps. Scientists rush outside with jars and nets. The sky is raining threads. Locals call it capelli d'angelo, the hair of angels. But what they don't know yet is that this strange phenomenon isn't just happening in Florence. It's spreading across Italy, and soon across Europe. This is Project Angel Thread, a mystery that remains unsolved 70 years later. The first confirmed event took place on October 27, 1954. Two men, Gennaro Lucetti and Piero Lastrucci, were standing outside the Stadio Artemio Franchi, watching a football match. At around 2:30 p.m., the crowd suddenly fell silent. Dozens of people pointed toward the sky. Hovering above the stadium were two shiny objects, oval-shaped and moving in perfect synchronization. They reflected the sunlight so intensely that people shielded their eyes. Then the objects stopped, and from beneath them, white threads began to fall. Witnesses say the air shimmered as the fibers rained down, slowly, silently, twisting in the air like silk. When people tried to touch them, the threads disintegrated, vanished on contact. But one man, a local journalist named Giorgio Bettini, managed to collect samples using a glass rod and sealed them in a vial. He brought them to the University of Florence for analysis. The scientists were skeptical, but under a microscope, they found something unexpected. The fibers weren't spider silk. They weren't plant material, plastic, or synthetic threads. They were composed of elements including boron, silicon, magnesium, and calcium, a combination rarely found in nature. When burned, the material emitted an intense blue flame, leaving behind a strange, sticky residue. One chemist described it as a product of high-energy transformation. Another called it something from the upper atmosphere, but none of them could explain how it appeared or why it dissolved when touched. Days later, reports came from across Tuscany, and even from Venice, Turin, and Modena. Entire towns reported white rain, fields covered in glistening filaments that vanished within hours. The Vatican released a statement urging people not to panic, calling it a sign of divine mystery, but scientists had a different theory. Some believed it was a phenomenon known as gossamer, the mass migration of spiders that release silk strands to travel with the wind. On warm, autumn days, the sky can fill with tiny floating webs. But there was a problem. These fibers were too thick, too uniform, and there were no spiders found anywhere near the sites. Even more bizarre, pilots flying above the region reported seeing luminous trails stretching for miles across the sky. Radar detected nothing. No clouds, no planes, no flocks of insects, just empty air, and something invisible releasing threads from nowhere. In 1957, 3 years after the first incident, the Italian Air Force quietly opened an internal investigation. Declassified documents years later revealed its code name, Operazione Capelli. The files confirm multiple unexplained sightings across northern Italy, including the same white rain. But the final pages of the report were blacked out, entire paragraphs redacted. The official conclusion simply read, "Material of unknown atmospheric origin. No cause determined." Decades later, new evidence emerged. In 1998, in Portugal, thousands witnessed another fall of silvery threads. Samples were collected again. This time, scientists found organic cellular structures inside the fibers, tiny globules that looked like spores or eggs. DNA tests failed. The material wasn't fungal, bacterial, or animal. It was something else. NASA took interest. They proposed the atmospheric polymer theory, suggesting the fibers might form when high-energy ions collide with atmospheric pollutants. But this didn't explain the movement patterns or why the threads appeared to fall after UFO sightings. Yes, UFOs. Dozens of the 1954 witnesses, including police officers, priests, and pilots, reported seeing metallic discs moments before the fibers fell. UFO researchers called it angel hair, a byproduct of propulsion, or exhaust crystallizing in the air. But skeptics called that pseudoscience. Still, the correlation is hard to ignore. Every verified angel hair event from 1947 to 1977 is paired with a mass UFO sighting. From Portugal, France, Spain, and even Australia, the same glowing threads, the same disintegration, the same silence from officials. A few remaining witnesses from Florence still recall that day. Back in Italy, one man, now in his 80s, described it like this: "It was beautiful and terrifying. The air was alive. I felt like we were being watched." He swears he saw shapes inside the light, figures moving above the clouds. When he blinked, they were gone. But the threads kept falling. Today, scientists remain divided. Some say it's atmospheric waste, others suggest secret aerial testing, and a few whisper about interdimensional phenomena, the sky itself shedding. Recent satellite data from 2023 showed faint reflective layers forming over Italy's northern regions, matching the same coordinates as the 1954 incident. For a few hours, those clouds reflected unusual infrared radiation, the same wavelength observed during ion propulsion experiments. Then, they vanished. So what really happened in Florence that day? Did the heavens open? Did something fall from another world? Or did humanity witness a natural event we still don't understand? The fibers are gone, the samples destroyed, and the official files remain sealed, hidden in military archives marked Unexplained. But if you ask the locals, they'll tell you the same thing they told their children. When the air begins to shimmer, don't look up. This is HUSHATLAS, and this file, Project Angel Thread, remains open.